Okay. The restream count is unfair because it's a 3 with a go. So it's a 4 count.
Warming up and manually resharing. Whew. If you can hear a weird noise, that's the electric fan. Welcome to the heat of the Philippines.
But also, it's like, I felt guilty about keeping the air conditioning on this whole time. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
There's no good answer.
And we have been leaving it on longer than usual.
Yeah, and it's already the rainy season. So, like, by right, we should be cutting down on use. But it's just so comforting.
Okay. Facebook monitor is running. Resharing to the group that has subscribed to Baduy.
Yeah, that's the alternate notification method. If you want to, if you want in on that action, just let us know. But it helps if we're already Facebook friends. What was I doing? Oh, dang.
Oh my gosh.
So, guys, it's going to be 7/7 in a few hours. Are you ready for what you're going to check out?
I'm thinking we'll get a new webcam.
You really want to get a new
I
webcam?
just want to see if it actually has a sharper image quality, if it's a newer camera.
I feel like you need to spend significantly if you really want a good camera.
And then I think we'll get a second light.
Wow. Okay.
And then we can have more light, but they're both from further away, so it's like
Our lights like the new pillows in your world. Like let's always get more lights and more pillows. Hello,
Oh.
Javan. Thank you for tuning in.
there. Okay. For a moment, I was not seeing the YouTube version.
Yeah. 7. Well, all the monthly retail sale day of Lazada has just become like my keto grocery day because I've shifted my keto supplies to Lazada, and then I just restock it once a month.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily get crazy deals. At best, I get free shipping and 5 or 10% off. But every bit counts because I collate my order into one. So I don't know. I make your 7/7 plans, everyone.
I guess like the video ready.
Oh yes.
We'll be starting very soon. This is I still feel bloated from that dinner. There's a lot of pasta, but then I also, because I had cake before that I had bread, and then cake I had guava jelly.
And you had yogurt with your
I
cake.
had yogurt. I avoided the.
So don't blame my pasta.
Okay, wait. Your pasta is heavy. Your pasta's like for 2 servings.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. We need to cut our hair soon.
Yes.
It's gotten
we look like
unruly.
weird survival mode haircuts.
I'm definitely in full chia pet mode. And then it's uneven from my headphones all day. Oh my god.
Me naman, I'm in what, Battlefield Earth mode.
You need to shave the sides to do like full undercut post-apocalyptic realness.
And it's weird because you can see how it's white in those areas. See? You see that? See that? Like white. Oh boy. Okay, I think we should get started. My nose is starting to react to the fact that the fan is on.
Okay, so we're gonna get started. Give us a moment.
Psychosomatic or something.
I'm sure it is. Okay, we'll be right back.
Oh yeah! Baduy Pride!
Hello, everyone. This is Toby.
That was a long pause. This is Rocky. Get on
See,
with it.
I lost
Get
it. I
on with
lost the
it.
thread because you had to do that. Welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us to talk about everything and anything random
And
live.
if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. It's episode 229, and it's a Tuesday, which means we talk about food.
At least these days we do. Last year we didn't have a food day. Now we have a food day.
That's
And
called
then
evolution.
yeah, I know, and like we're wondering if Thursdays is gonna become a day also for stuff. But
But just
we'll
so
get
you
there.
know, since it's a Tuesday and that tends to be food, today's topic is all about cheese.
And this was another Mitch suggestion, right?
Yes.
And it goes all the way back to when we did an episode, which was also a request about sandwiches. And then she wanted us to do one about cheese.
Mhm.
And we only got around to it now. Toby, go get through your definitions.
You're the one with the open page. Why will I be the one to go through the definition?
Because you want to go to definitions. You have it in a bigger font.
So, what is cheese? Cheese is a dairy product derived from milk and produced in a wide range of flavors, textures, and forms by coagulation of the milk protein casein.
Casein, I don't know.
It compromises
It comprises.
It comprises protein and fat from milk, usually milk from cows, buffaloes, goats, or sheep. During production, the milk is usually acidified, and the enzymes of rennet are added to cause the milk proteins to coagulate. The solids, or curds, are then separated from the milk, which is whey, and pressed into final form. So, curds and whey, of course, my first.
Toby. Okay, to be fair, I think a lot of people when they hear Mary as a little lamb,
You're gonna talk about that?
just leave it at that. And then but others of us, look up what the heck are curds and whey
I did that.
to see what the Hey, it's Rehan.
Hey,
Hello.
Rahan.
And then Javan's asking, is cheese keto? And surprisingly, most of them are.
As long as they were not processed, there's a big chance they are.
Yeah, so just because it is mostly fat. So
Mhm.
hey, cheese. Okay.
So for some cheeses, the milk is curdled by adding acids such as vinegar or lemon juice. Most cheeses are acidified to a lesser degree by bacteria, which turn the milk sugars into lactic acid. And then cheesemakers basically take advantage of the fact that cheese has long shelf life, high fat content, protein, calcium, and phosphorus. Cheese is more compact and has a longer shelf life than milk. So how long a cheese will keep depends on the type of cheese, and that's always puzzled me.
Huh?
How there are cheeses that oh, you're allowed to age it. And what?
Yeah. One, I think I will just point out that I love the fact that on the Wikipedia page, the word cheesemonger is in bold
Mhm.
because that is a person who creates cheese. And guys, cheesemonger is an awesome word. And then the other thing is that I remember this, I think it was like a fairy tale type thing
Mhm.
where I can't remember how I encountered it, but basically it was about this family and then they had milk, but then the the kids were lazy and did different things. And one like the milk can rolled down the hill and then became butter. And then the other one, the milk can like I think dried up in the sun and then became cheese. So it was that thing that oh my god, all this the milk turned into different things.
The closest I think is the Three Little Men in the Wood.
Okay.
Um, but no, this seems different.
Probably not that. Um,
Oh yeah, this is different. Okay, it wasn't this.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I encountered it, but I swear to dog that there was a there was a fairy tale type story that I encountered in my younger life where it talked about how milk turns into different things. And it always fascinated me that cheese and butter and milk are all in the same family. So
So for the longest time, I did not know what curds and whey were
Okay.
on the fairy tale,
Okay.
and I always thought they were just some other foreign product or something. So that's why they never made sense to me. It was only later on that I realized that they were part of the process of creating cheese, and I guess you could say they're the byproducts of milk with acids and the like.
Yeah, they're the evolutions, the variations, the mutations. I don't know.
Oh, it's Three Little Pigs.
No.
No, 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 no. Sorry, that was still different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm looking at Roll Downhill, and there's a bunch of them coming out.
yeah. There is an Aesop's fable about milk, but this isn't it. It isn't the one I want because it's don't count your chicken before they hatch sort of parable. So, when do you? I mean, we tried to talk about first encounters with the food, but then it's hard to think about. I can't remember if I encountered cheese on its own or was it always like with something else,
Hmm.
right? I think as kids you're more likely to encounter anything from cheese whiz, cheese spread,
Hmm.
cheese slices, uh, um, cheese and crackers,
Hmm.
and you know that those are probably your first encounters with cheese. Do you have a memory of something that you distinctly remember to be cheese?
I'm not sure what came first,
The
but
chicken or the egg?
cheese was always prominent in spaghetti.
Okay, that's
There'd
true.
be that mound of cheese that's like,
That was grated and
yeah.
melted into another skin. Okay,
Um,
yeah.
but then I also have memories of, um, so we'd go to Italian restaurants and they'd like cut those super thin slices of cheese. So
Mm.
they'd be like pieces of paper on top of your pasta.
Which is typically like legit parmesan.
And I was always so fascinated because I didn't realize they were cheese.
Mm.
But I was always like, I like that paper. I like that paper.
Ooh, Javan shares her memory of Kraft cheese sticks. I
Yes,
remember.
I was about
Kraft
to
cheese
say the
sticks.
Kraft cheese, which had the metal,
The metal at the
the
end.
metal at the end, and that was the bane of trying to sneak and eat it secretly because you'd be like, "Jack, Jack, when can I get help to break
Oh,
it
Tristan
open?"
on YouTube said the same thing. Like Kraft. So to be fair, Kraft is probably one of those
Mm-mm.
super prominent, like it's a cheese brand.
And then last, I guess I would mention would be having cheese as one of the things on the toothpick.
Oh, like a party thing or
Yeah,
d'oeuvres.
so you'd have cheese and stuff, and then you'd have the toothpick. Sometimes it's a cheese and an olive. And at that time, I was really weirded out what olives were. I thought they were like black aratilis because we had the aratilis at home.
I think one of my earliest delightful memories of cheese is probably going to be it's the cheese and crackers cheese spread,
Mhm.
but the one that came together, that you had like
Yeah.
a disposable package which had maybe 3 to 4 crackers and then a chunk of cheese. And I know Kraft came out with one of their own, and then it had that perfect red stick
Mhm.
that you used to scoop the cheese out, and that was like you appreciated how you need your cheese spread to survive the 3 to 4 crackers and
And
not run out.
and I guess it was like the ancestors of Yan Yan.
I think it's just a par.
No,
Development.
in the sense that after memories of those, when you have Yan Yan, it's like those cheese things. No. So when it comes to cheese, when you try to look back to where it started, there is always that legend of an Arab trader who was trying to store milk and had stored milk in the stomach of an animal, and
Of
because
course.
of that, with the acids that were present, the churning and the acids and the container results in the curds and whey and results in the creation of cheese. Beyond that, however, there are no clear dates as to when cheese really started. Um, and then we have to talk about how cheese just comes in so many forms. I remember that there was a long time in the past when I was not willing to touch the weirder, stinkier cheeses because I was so used to the processed cheese.
Yeah,
So,
which
um,
sometimes get called American
yeah.
cheese.
So we have cheddar cheese, we have the processed cheese, we have the cheese slices, the cheese sticks. For me, those were the world of cheeses. And then when you had the blocks of parmesan, that was like weird for me. They weren't cheese.
So technically, that was the paper.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'd have the queso de bola,
Oh,
which for me was weird because I was like, why does it come in wax?
Queso de bola really took a while
Mhm.
for me to
And
get
then
into.
you have feta.
Mm.
You have quesong puti, which in this country, quesong puti is like there are so few places that have something similar to quesong puti. The goat cheese that's you know watery and almost sour,
Okay, yeah.
and really works best if you fry it because most other goat cheeses are not fried and usually eaten raw and are enjoyed differently. Um, and then you have blue cheese, which I always wonder how do you know if blue cheese goes bad?
Yeah, because they deliberately smell weird.
Hmm.
I think what always weirded me out also is like it's and only in your adulthood that you start looking at labels more closely and you figure that everything cheese is cheese. But then you see things that are labeled as cheese product
Hmm.
and like what is that? It's like when you see patis that is patis flavor and it's not patis somehow. So it's kind of bonkers.
Now, online, some of the listed reasons why cheese is different is because of the techniques that are used to influence its texture and flavor.
Okay.
So, for example, mozzarella and provolone, the
Mm-hmm.
curd is stretched and kneaded in hot water, developing a stringy, fibrous body. It's called stretching. Then you have cheddar and other cheeses. It's so annoying. It's called cheddaring.
The process is cheddaring.
Where
Yeah.
the curd is cut repeatedly, piled up to push more moisture away. Then it's mixed and milled for a long time, taking the sharp edges off the cut curd pieces, influencing the final product's texture.
Mm.
So I guess that's called cheddaring. So weird.
It is not, it is
Yeah.
it is that is the process.
And then there's washing, wherein the curd is washed in warm water, lowering its acidity and making it a milder tasting cheese. So this is Gouda, Colby, Edam. I'm not sure where queso puti will fall under. I think it's stretching because queso puti does have a almost rubbery feel. But I
I don't
also
know.
now wonder if it's more washing.
Boo, 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 boo. I'm trying to look.
Well, there it says here at the top from soft, fresh to hard aged. So
There are different, so you'd have
yeah.
to figure out queso puti itself, and we're not on the Wikipedia page, so um, how to make queso puti.
It's Filipino white cheese
And
according
it's
to one site.
Carabao also, not just goat.
Hmm. So so it can be eaten fresh like that. So it's almost like a white liver spread in the sense that it looks like it's made of chunks and stuff. But at the same time, there's the version of it where it's a bit more squishy
So
and
it's just
rubbery.
the pressed cheese.
Yeah.
It is unaged cheese heated in unskimmed milk, adding a coagulating agent to turn the milk into curds, then traditionally presented wrapped in banana leaves. And that's okay. It's just pressed. Okay, then comment. So Jay says cottage cheese with hot pandesal is a delight, sure. And then Jovan says there's a cheddaring video I remember watching on Sesame Street. I feel like Sesame Street managed to somehow show us the process for creating
Mhm.
so many foods, and I don't remember half of them now.
So I'm looking here at a list of different cheeses.
Okay,
Berkswell, have you had that?
I have not had Berkswell. So on this list, I've had Brie definitely.
Macanyo,
Macagno, unfamiliar.
mozzarella, of course. We've all had that in one way or another.
Thank you, pizza.
Queso fresco, I guess fresh cheese. It's literally white cheese. Maybe there's like queso puti.
In that family,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Then there's the smoked cheeses.
Yes.
Um, there's camembert.
Camembert, I've gotten you this.
Yeah, camembert always makes me think it's a cheesecake minus the cake
Because
it
it's
has
in that
that
little
texture.
thing.
It almost feels gelatinous.
But then
and-
brie is the same. I mean, it's like it's another soft cheese with like a minor crust.
Yeah, but brie is more leche flan for me.
I don't know how to resolve Toby's comparisons. I just nod and accept them. Okay. Edam,
It's the closest thing to queso
queso
de
de
bola.
bola. Yeah, yeah. And then where are these
Ricotta.
other ones?
Ricotta is what like fresh.
It's a whey cheese, but then you see it more like used in like pastas
Mhm.
and they stuff it with ricotta and stuff. Okay. Wow, a lot of the cheese I don't know. Of course, Parmigiano, Reggiano. Wow, it's like Saint Pierre, Biochon. I don't know these cheeses. There's so many
Mhm.
cheeses. Emmental, I only know the word, but
Emmen-
not the name. And then
Emmental.
Stilton.
Yeah, Emmental. I always think it's like elemental.
So what was your household cheese brand growing up? Like, can you think of? Do you know what cheese was typically in the fridge?
No, but I think quick melt was pretty much the longer standard of what we had later on. Because I remember quick melt a lot.
Chavital Quick Melt,
I guess, yeah, but
which is cheese product,
yeah.
which is different from Magnolia Quick Melt, which came out later when Magnolia came back online.
Mhm.
And oh my God, Jovan's like, there's a quiz called Cheese
Ah,
or Font.
sorry, I'm trying to get the focus right because it's focused on our background and not us.
Yeah, we're not important enough to focus on.
See, move your head a bit. That's in focus compared to us.
I don't know. I don't know how to help you. Um, we're just using a webcam, so do we need to pop
I don't know
more?
why. Is it because we're not in the center? So it's like
There is that we're not in the center of the frame.
so it's automatically trying to. Okay, I'll keep you in the center for now. Let's see if it'll adjust. It's so strange. Anyway, moving back. Cheese product.
Jovan says there's a quiz that's cheese or font. I don't know if you want to play it,
Mm.
but we could try to dig it up. But then we already looked at the Wikipedia article, so I don't know. We're like the names of these will seem familiar.
And then a common cheese product was that spray can thing
Oh, cheese in a can.
because it allowed you to like um,
Make craft shapes.
or like on a biscuit.
And it was the
you make a
similar
line.
it was the similar processed cheese consistency of like what you get with the cracker pack.
Mm,
Also, I mean, to be fair, because Kraft also had their version of it,
mhm.
and that always went well. So, easy cheese, Javan says. Oh my gosh. Okay. So,
Now, yeah, go on.
okay, no, I didn't have anything. Go.
So there's this. Um, so there's these 11 strange cheeses and their surprising origins, which was a website found in CNN. There's Casu Marzu, which is an Italian cheese, which is enjoyed only by a select population because it's served with live maggots.
Okay, what did the maggots do?
So the cheese contains live insects, so it can't be imported.
I imagine it probably doesn't meet certain health standards.
So the cheese is left to rot and attract flies. When the flies hatch, the transformation takes place, and it's now Kasumatsu. I will pass.
Okay, yeah. I wonder how many of these cheeses on this list involve like rotting.
Well, the Milbenkäse of Germany
It'll probably Milbenkase.
has mite excrement variety. So we'll pass and not
More
read that
bugs on
further.
the cheese. Okay, I'm sensing a trend.
Tibetan communities have yak cheese.
Is that just because of the rarity of yaks?
So this is cheese made by wrapping the curd from yak's melt in cloth and pressing it to get rid of the water. When it dries out, it's cut into pieces, allowed to dry, often over a wood fire. It's earthly and tasty. Interesting.
Okay,
That
so-
doesn't sound so bad.
yeah.
There's Irag cheese in Central Asia or horse milk cheese. The horse is still integral to life in many places. The mare is milked during foaling season, and
Oh,
the
wow.
milk is left to ferment with an agent such as last season's Irag.
Are you prepared to milk a cow? Milk a horse.
It can be eaten fresh or dried, and it's a popular snack in the steppes.
Okay.
Camel's milk cheese in Ethiopia, Sudan, Bedouin communities. So it's hard to do with camel's milk. So herders use camel rennet from pieces of the animal's stomach to coagulate milk and create curds. I am not sure I want to know what that means. Of course, there's human milk cheese.
Of course there is.
New York,
Of course it's American.
and I will pass
Why though?
because I don't know them.
Okay.
If it were like bring your friend and make milk from that friend, I would say
milk
yes.
your friend.
Yeah, seriously. Because I'd be like, let's try this. This is our thing. But if it's a total stranger's cheese, I don't want that.
Okay, it's one thing to say a total stranger's milk, but I think it's another thing a total stranger's cheese.
Now,
Now it gets very
now, if
disturbing.
they have like blue ribbon human milk, so for example, it's like it's like Jake Gyllenhaal cheese.
Is this the Kobe
And-
beef of milk?
well,
It's
it might
like,
be Kobe Bryant cheese, but that's my point. If it were popular,
why you
people,
keep citing men who do not produce milk? I don't know what you're drinking.
but that's my point.
Not safe for
If it's
work.
going to be human milk, I would rather it's either worth the buck because it's someone popular or someone you love. Then there's Lichen or Lichen cheese from Canada. A small Quebec company found out that the Inuit once ate fermented lichen, from the stomach of a caribou that tasted like blue cheese, so they decided to try to do it for themselves.
Quite interesting.
The cheese is, they note, still in an experimental stage. Oh my gosh.
So Jay remembers a Discovery Channel feature about the maggot cheese. And then, of course, Javan cites, all of them are bad because they're all bad milk.
Yeah. Admittedly, that's what cheese is. So there's deer milk cheese in New Zealand. Now cheese from the humble red deer may soon become a hallmark of New Zealand. Okay, it's the first cheese from the Kiwi Bambi.
So we're seeing two schools of thought. One is to go through a particular additional layer of decay
Mm-hmm.
where insects get involved, and other it's just unusual animals.
Unusual source.
Yeah, horse,
Aha!
red, something.
There's alpaca and llama cheese.
Oh my! Well, I think we knew this was going to happen.
Well, given that the llamas and alpacas already give their dung for fuel, hide for leather, and wool for clothing, then why not milk for cheese?
Good job,
Then there's donkey cheese
donkey cheese.
from Serbia. About 25 liters are required to make 1 kilogram of cheese.
Wow, it has 60 times more vitamin C than cow's milk, but they only produce 200 ml per day. So then it's quantity.
And
versus
that is the list.
interesting. Okay. At this point, and I know we haven't necessarily had a lot of cheese, but
Mhm.
do you have a favorite cheese?
So I definitely like the weirder cheeses I can't name that you have me try.
Okay.
So everything from the blue cheese to some of those. There was the cheese platter we had once in that restaurant, that really expensive restaurant, and
Keep going.
I like those.
Totally refreshes my
Um,
memory.
I admit that I wasn't that much into cheese before, and I really got more. I really appreciated it more with you, because I kind of was just used to grilled cheese sandwiches, and it was basically a dagdag to the something I'm eating.
Mm.
It's only now, well, not now, but now with you, that I can actually find myself appreciating just having cheese, for example. Because now I really notice how the flavors are distinct. Feta has become quite a cheese I enjoy, but I also realize that it's so expensive, so I don't rush having it that often anymore.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think. I mean, like, and then my relationship with cheese was kind of similar. Like growing up, it was mostly just
Mhm.
as a spread, as a part of a sandwich, and the like, or as a flavor of potato chips. But I think it was only later on that I don't know. I ended up with like you go through that period of gay friends where like, oh, we're gonna have a wine and cheese party,
Mm.
and that was the first time I experimented with like buying weird cheeses. Well, not weird, but different cheeses from the supermarket, and that initially ended me with like brie and camembert, both of which I super loved. And then it was just fun to have the mini wheel,
Mhm.
at home as a something to bring
And I
out.
always wondered about that wheel. I always felt it was like ang lit-lit ng mahal-mahal. But then when we had it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that one slice.
It's so potent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jovan says about she loves Buddha and Gruyere, and then pasta done on a cheese wheel. That I regret. I have not experienced, and I may not anymore because of my keto.
No, we still
Shit.
can, because we still have keto noodles. All we have to do is you allow me to buy the cheese wheel.
Okay, there's our problem. What are we gonna do with a cheese wheel? How are we going to heat it up sufficiently?
Then that's where we buy a blowtorch.
Okay, then notice the danger in this slippery slope. So this is why I guess I'm never gonna try pasta
No,
made
we
in a cheese wheel.
can. I mean, we know that they sell it
Unless
in
what?
high
Unless
street.
I bring my own noodles and like, can you please use my keto noodles, which are a
No, that's why
lie.
now we have to buy the wheel. And then when we buy the wheel, we'll find a way to melt that part to do the pasta thing. And then eventually we'll be scraping it every now and then for more cheese.
I think I only want to experience like made by a real Italian. Only to limit this cheese
Well,
wheel plan.
well, just by saying that, the real Italian will already tell you, what are these noodles? No, because your noodles are not even noodles.
At the very
They're
least, Javan
gelatin.
has offered to help you with the cheese wheel. And it's such a fascinating thing though as a process because I imagine it'd be nice and it's sort of like the Cooking Master Boy fried
Mhm.
rice logic of you're gonna super wrap it in cheese because it's cooking literally in the cheese and that sounds
Yeah, I
exciting.
love it when they like slice that layer off because it's melted from the heat,
Hmm.
and then they just
What was
plop it
that
on the plate.
weird? There was that weird restaurant documentary show where they were like they had to do test a restaurant concept, and one was like all their pasta was cheese wheel pasta, and then it
Mm.
was oh my god,
Yeah, that was the one with the that older woman who was sobrang, I'll shoot down your dreams. Because she will be judging the restaurant so much, right?
okay,
Remember, wasn't that the host?
I'm not sure
Because
if it's,
they try to they test their concept, and then they're like the investors will show up
yeah
one by
yeah
one,
that one.
and then they're all staring at the clock, and then I'm sorry, they did not choose to invest with you.
I can't remember if anyone invested in a pasta wheel
Yeah.
place. So okay. What else about cheese?
I hope that someday they'll have cheese wheels that are like the size of skateboard wheels. Para naman they're smaller and we can order.
Okay, that's a bit more reasonable.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, even without bringing this up, this is not the first time Toby's been tempted to try to buy a cheese wheel. When we go to Marketplace, which used to be by Rustan's but it's now by Robinson's, um, they'll every now and then they'll have this cheese festival month, and they
Mm.
all the cheese is discounted. And looks unusually longingly at the wheel and
Because
thinks
it's
about it.
always like just sitting there, no one's paying attention to it. So I
Ah,
feel
so-
the temptation.
So
to-
it triggers Toby's desire to save things.
yeah, and the wheels like, take me home, let me roll. Because like the Cooper's Hill cheese rolling festival that they hold annually, there are people in the world where the cheese wheel would be rolled down the hill, and people actually run after it to try to outrace it. Not a safe, not a safe festival, not a safe sport. But there was that one documentary we watched with that girl who was going for the trial and training for it, and
Oh my
she
god, that
and
was that
she-
that was that
yeah.
Netflix show about weird competitions, and then like
Mm-mm.
oh my god, that cheese thing down the hill was just crazy. I don't know why people do these things, but hey, the power of tradition and
Gloucestershire, if that's the way to say it.
probably not, but I think it's like you saying Worcestershire, Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire.
I don't
think
know
so?
if it's similar.
Because there's Gloucester is the
Different.
place.
Yeah,
And Gloucestershire because it's the hill.
Gloucester we've encountered because of Pendragon. I know.
Jovan shares there are smaller cheese wheels, but not as small as caster wheels. I guess we can work with those.
They're still big. They're like a Skyflakes can. That's a lot of cheese.
That's a lot of cheese.
I see. The same words, different tone.
No. Okay, you were then gonna load.
I had nothing.
Oh,
was
I thought you loaded.
I was just
something.
looking at my other pages, but I have nothing in particular.
So
I'm still looking for the fairy
So
tale.
we've talked about the different cheeses. Let's talk about how the different cheeses are served. So many cheeses we serve it as it is, right? So the cheese is either cut into slices or cut into blocks or cut into whatever
Cubes,
you
yeah.
will serve it. But then there are the cheeses that are lit up or melted, and These are fun for me because it then has that I don't know if it's caramelization. When you melt the cheese and it becomes that
I think
tougher,
it just
darker,
oxidizes.
sweeter portion,
Yeah.
right? And that's what makes pizza so great.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the fresh cheeses. So we have some puti and some of the other softer cheeses. Some of them pa nga, parang, it's like taho. You have to make sure you squeeze out the water and then you serve it.
I'll give credit to Batibot for making me want to try quesong puti
Mhm.
because the freaking Pong Pagong wouldn't shut up about it. Like, ooh, he super loved it. And then I finally got to try some. I was like, okay, not not bad. A little weird,
But which one did
but
you
not
have? Did
bad.
you have the soft, parang cottony quesong puti,
It
or was
was
it the
it was
rubbery?
it was fresh from it was still in banana leaves.
Yeah, that they always serve it naman
And
banana
then
leaves.
it was semi
Crumbly.
solid. It felt crumbly.
Okay.
I could smear it onto bread.
Yeah.
I
So
smeared it
that's
onto
the fresh one.
crackers. Yeah,
The
yeah.
one I like is a little bit more parang pressed together. So it's almost like it's almost like um almost like a mozzarella. Na it stretches and a bit, but it still breaks apart and becomes that very messy type of cheese. Okay, so let's check that out.
So yeah, if we're gonna talk about keto cheeses, no, not all cheeses are safe, but some of the best in terms of the comparison of fat versus carb
Mhm.
count, whatever. Goat cheeses float up only because they tend to be zero carbs when they're.
Mhm.
But I guess it looks like the very
These are
right
the
one.
best and not
Yeah,
okay.
blue cheese also, which is why the blue cheese dressing is nice. Cream cheese, which is super indulgent, which is also why cream cheese cheesecakes
Mhm.
still survive around as like keto desserts. Parmesan and okay, that's not a type of cheese. Stupid
But
article.
this is something we've been thinking of doing, which is, dehydrate the cheese and then maybe roast them in the oven a bit so they turn into these crisps.
Yeah, not really dehydrate. Just bake them. Just
Mhm.
bake them into crisps, and I just haven't had the patience for it. So obviously, the super processed ones are the bad ones. So canned cheese is totally out of the picture.
Mhm.
Classic American cheese is bad, and then milder cheddar is apparently not great also.
Because
And
they tend to have
ricotta,
a higher sugar content.
yeah, and then ricotta. Full fat ricotta can be fine, but because of its macros, you're not able to sit down for a big bowl because it's higher in carbs. And then cottage cheese, ironically, which is such a so many people think of cottage cheese for diet
Mhm.
food, but it's not keto. So it's also I can't have cottage cheese. So it's just funny. So I'm better off like with mozzarella and like that's why I like full cheeses.
Mhm.
I compromise on the slices a bit because like in Singapore we could get mozzarella sticks. Um, but then here it's like not so much. So then we just look at the labels and then I only have them in limited quantities, so that helps. So going back to the dirty keto logic of anything in a small enough quantity is keto.
So Jay shares si Mrs. Quezon Puti, haven't had it for a while. Interestingly, many supermarkets now actually have it. There was a time wherein the only place I knew to get queso puti, if it weren't all the way in Batangas, was that gas station along South Superhighway.
Mm,
Remember, I used to actually drive there to buy queso puti and then go back to Cubao.
yeah.
But now, if you look, some supermarkets actually have a section that has queso puti. Your mileage may vary. Um, I don't know now in the time of pandemic if it's still something they store because it is hard to maintain and what's the word? It doesn't have a good shelf life.
Yeah, yeah. And then I feel like ironically enough, you're more likely to encounter queso pate at restaurants
No.
because it's like a classic like I want to make it fusiony with a Filipino twist.
Mhm.
I'll use queso pate instead of whatever cheese it used to be. And then we see a lot of salads like that. And it works out. I like
And,
that.
and I guess your last option is those farmers market slash artisanal
The weekend
pop-ups.
markets here and
Kasi
there, the
nila lang
organic
they'll have certain
markets.
cheeses available.
Okay.
Jay also asks any thoughts on string cheese. So that's the spray can thing, tama ba? that has the
I'm not
long.
sure unless you're talking about like the cheese sticks that come out. So in both forms, typically not super keto, and so
Mm.
I can't really go for them
But
now.
yummy ang cheese sticks, not yummy ang string cheese.
You know, I've never had cheese in a can. As much as like it got super popular and like it's always depicted in movies,
It's
but I've never had cheese in a can.
it's like the cheese when you get chips in a movie theater, but add parang coconut oil so it's more
Mm,
solid.
mm.
Parang ganun siya.
And then Javan's like soft cheeses tend to be more keto friendly. That is true.
Mm.
And then yeah, we seem to appreciate. We're Javan and I are like night and day in terms of our respective health diets, and at least between the two of us, we will have stuff to eat
Mm.
and share, or at least portion and divide one another.
So cheese sticks na you can feel like the stringy bits of banana.
I'm guessing it's like the craft sticks. I don't know.
I'm thinking it. The stringy bits of banana. Remember the banana? Something you can peel the cheese stick na ganun. I can't think of anything like that. I don't think I've ever had that.
I Google string cheese,
Oh, okay. I've never had that.
but it's still they're still
So,
essentially cheese
so it's
sticks.
like kani,
That technically it's
diba?
like
Because kani
the
breaks down like
fibrous
that.
element. Okay.
Okay, I've never had that.
I can't say I've specifically had cheese sticks.
I don't
Cheese, just string cheese.
Yeah, I don't think I will look for that. But let's talk, let us now talk about
La, la,
cheese
la,
snacks and desserts that we do like or miss. So there's cheesecake.
Well,
I'll-
I can still get access to it
Hmm.
because it's one of the few keto desserts that come out tasting the same.
Assuming the crust for you works.
They practically don't bother, or like it's super minimal.
Yeah. Because
Not almond flour but like
Mm.
a lot of people look for that
mm-mm.
sweet crust thing. Okay.
Syempre, there's cheese bread for many people. In terms of local Philippine paninderia, there's so many varieties of cheese bread. From the ones that have sugar, from the ones that don't but have jam. What else?
I generally love the notion of stuffed crust pizza
Mm.
with cheese, but I hate paying for it. Like the price jump to add
Mm.
a cheese filling into your crust always felt like too much. And then I went keto, so that eliminated me having pizza at all. But I kind of miss that innovation.
I was more happy with ordering extra cheese than getting a stuffed crust pizza.
But like, what extra cheese that you'll sprinkle on your own?
The topping when they cook it, or like it's those two slices, so it's like cheesy.
Cheese ice cream is considered weird by people outside the Philippines, but I love it, says Joanne.
Yes, I
That's
also love
true.
it. Queso Real has been one of those really.
Took me a while to appreciate because, and I'll concede, I grew up with a very Western mindset. I mean, literally, my earliest memories are in Los Angeles. But then, eat dirty ice cream enough, and you're going to have to deal with the cheese ice cream.
Yeah.
And it works. It super works.
On a similar flavor thread, blue cheese gelato was pretty
Mm.
good. That was a nice mix of ice cream
And
flavors.
blue cheese is also one of those because it was a stinky cheese. And then I think it lived in like the same realm as like broccoli and Brussels sprouts in my
Mm.
head, that media always depicted it as something
Mm.
difficult to eat or unappealing, and therefore, most people won't eat it. But when we finally got to try it, it's like, oh, this is nice. And then as a salad dressing,
Mhm.
oh my god, it's awesome. So I like that.
Because in as much as I enjoy a lot of the cheese desserts, I always found cheese drinks a bit odd.
Oh, like what was that one? The like the chocolate drink and they'll add cheese.
Yeah, or the cheesecake na milk tea. I don't know. I always feel there's something weird with the flavor profile. I mean, in as much as I do appreciate drinks that have a salty hit to it, the cheesy ones kind of make me feel weird about it.
Okay.
Cheese, that's the same thing.
Your
Wow.
thoughts on nacho cheese? Because nacho cheese is like not even cheese, right? I feel like it's another cheese product that is specifically designed to melt and coat nachos.
Um, so it depends. because they have a lot of different types.
That is
They have the
true too.
chips, they have the balls, they have the what do you call those little lightning bolts?
What?
You have the container. It's all these little parang twirly lightning bolts of nacho cheese, right? No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll try to find it. You
Good
keep
luck
talking.
trying to find nacho lightning bolts. But I'm referring to it more in its liquid state.
Mhm.
Like remember that Tostitos had a cheese dip that you
Yeah.
can get out. Oh my god! And then one of the first things you prepared for us when we were living together
I'd make
was
my own dip.
yeah, you'd make your own cheese dip using cheese whiz, sour cream.
cheese whiz, yeah, peppers.
Oh, Javan shares there's a DIY shake stand at the old UP shopping center, and they had Oreo and cheese shake and ube cheese shake, which are pretty good. Don't know if the shop moved to the new SC.
Mhm.
Yeah, I that would be interesting to find again.
Jay also shares rock salt milk teas with cream cheese. Yeah, he likes the combination. I think for me, I'm kind of unsure where to put myself because the milk is supposed to be the profile, but then they keep adding all these things, so na parang nawawala na.
But isn't it supposed to feel like because nga cheese is salt, it's tend to be salty, savory ish? Then it's a counterpoint to the
Yeah,
sweet.
but then they'll add boba and then they'll add ganyan and then so parang nawala rin yung flavors.
Too many dang things in your
Yeah.
drink.
It's like you wanted
Get
this
off my
yellow, but they
lawn.
serve you halo-halo. Diba? So a cheese snack I really like is combos.
Oh,
I don't
my
know
sister
why
loves
they're
combos
so good.
because it's pretzels.
The
Essentially,
pretzels that are
it's
stuffed with cheese.
it's a pretzel flavor profile. It's
Mhm.
very salty, and then you got cheese in the middle, which gives it
So
a
it's salty,
contrast.
salty.
Yeah, but the salty because
It's a different salty.
there's full on salt on the combo. Then it kind of counters the cheese. Then you taste a different part
and
of the
I
cheese.
like combos more than Doritos.
Okay, yeah, I thought Doritos is a very like oh my god American, but Doritos as a chip, like eventually my teeth hurt.
Mm.
I don't know why, but I always had that feeling of my teeth like get really painfully sore
Mm.
eating combo
And me, Doritos fight me. I get stabbed.
You get stabbed by the points. So I didn't really, yeah, I didn't really like Doritos. I prefer Cheetos more than like
And then
nacho Doritos.
I think everyone here will have their own stories on the what they call mabahong Mr. Chips.
Oh my god,
I don't know why they're mabaho.
but it does
They
stink.
really are mabaho.
It does stink. And I used to Mr. Chips because it was always like safely in the 20 peso range in
Hmm.
my call center days. And that was already expensive versus like growing up days. But that would be like I have reports to do. I will buy a bag of Mr. Chips.
Mm-mm.
I will cut it open and it'll be on my desk while I'm doing my reports. And that was like I would finish my reports with Mr. Chips.
Jovan shares combos are super salty. I used to love them until I got diminishing returns. That's where you have vanilla ice cream in between. Fabulous. Okay.
Oh my god. And in the stinky chip world, wasn't it also God, what's the small one? The small cheese na oh my god. I can't remember it.
Yeah. While you're searching, um, there's of course cheese rings, which I'm such a fan of. Um, and then there's all these other chips, but most of them are now less cheese and more potato and the like. So we'll ignore those for now.
Humpy Dumpy.
Mm.
Humpty Dumpty. Yes, there, Javan said it to Humpty Dumpty. Oh my god. Yeah, it was super stinky, but and it wasn't my favorite taste. But it was okay. It wasn't as bad as it smelled.
So was it because of the process?
I don't know. It's a combination of all the processed flavors inside Humpty Dumpy. And I know it's Humpty Dumpty, but then the commercial always made it sound like it's Humpy Dumpy.
No, they have they have a smell that's almost quote unquote close to vomit, which I understand. But it makes me always wonder. So does that mean there's something almost gastric in its contents that gives it that smell? Um, is it the presence of sulfur?
I don't know. I don't know. What could have driven it, And it's because they're corn chips, but they're not even potato chips. So that mess up. And then there was like super cheesy snacks, and I think this is gonna become a chips discussion. Really, was I guess what I like were cornets.
Cornets.
Cornet, the cheese flavor of cornets was really nice.
And then you'd always have them on your fingers.
Sort
And
of.
then you'd no, I always did that.
I did not often play with my food.
Okay, so for those who do PX shopping, I forget if it was planters or what. Those large plastic containers
With the cheese
with the
balls,
cheese. Oh my god!
planters.
And
Yes,
that's like super diminishing returns as well. But after a while, ayoko na.
because you're just eating air. Which now, like, isn't it? There were those factory overrun type chips that you can get
Yes.
super big bags. And it's just that. It's just very airy cheese puffs.
Mhm.
So yeah, I never really liked cheese puffs, cheese curls, that kind of thing, because it always just felt like I'm just eating cheese flavored air. So I don't know. That was a little weird to me. Um, but then okay, like if you think about Pringles, I didn't like their cheese flavor.
No,
I felt
didn't
the cheese
also.
was weird. It was like too sharp or something.
I think for me, potato chips will always be better with a sour cream
Hmm.
type of flavor. I
But
never like it when it's a cheesy flavor.
but growing up, like I super like piatos, the cheese flavor of piatos. But if you got the big bag and you finish it, you feel bad after.
I preferred plain potato chips.
Just plain salted.
And
I
then
eat a lot of
and
cheese
then the
snacks.
flavored one I liked was not even cheese. It was the ketchup fries.
Oh, I don't understand your love for ketchup fries.
So yummy. Ketchup fries is like Burger Machine burgers.
Explain.
May slight asim tamis.
From everything cooked on the same burner or what? Okay. What are other like cheese chips that I like? But there was the funny like how piatos and I think roller coaster taste very similar,
Hmm.
but it's just different shapes and textures. And then roller coaster was more tiring to eat because there were just so many of them. But they also generally shared a similar flavor profile with cheese curls.
Hmm.
My sister loves cheese curls. She's super like that was her chip of choice. Oh, you remember those chips for a while that came with like dips?
Hmm.
And then there was one with its own like nacho dip that came with it. I thought it was super novel that they tried to bundle like dips as part of the experience. It just didn't catch on.
Yeah.
It did not survive the grocery wars. I don't know.
And then no one ever tried making cheesy chicharon.
I am unaware. I don't know how I feel about this.
That's just a thought. But if you make chicharon your potato chip, then you could have a cheese flavored
Oh,
chicharon.
okay. Javan said it's ruffled sour cream and cheddar and white cheddar popcorn. Oh, that's true though. White cheddar variants of stuff were nice
Mhm.
because they weren't as like it wasn't a strong
There
sharp.
was a lightness to
Yeah,
them, but
yeah.
they still hit that cheese need you
And it
want.
was like bordering on sour cream but not going there. So it wasn't as
Mhm.
sour, you know. But I like that.
G shares EIG.
Yeah, G is it's the one with the dip.
Yeah.
Those are the ones with the dip. I doubt they'll bring it back. I mean, if it's dead, if it's dead, it's dead. You know.
Yeah. If there's anything they'll bring back, I'd rather they bring back Surge. Ikaw pa rin.
Yet another episode where we cite the Bring Back Surge campaign. I guess we probably should actually make an actual campaign out of it. I don't know. Okay. So yeah. So cheese has actually ironically become like my go-to snack
Hmm.
in my keto period. So like we always keep either cheese pieces, cheese sticks, or cheese
Hmm.
slices on hand.
Yeah. And there was a time even in Cubao, we'd buy vanilla ice cream, but then with grate cheese over it. Do
You
you
did.
remember that? You had that too.
You made me try it, and it's like, okay, this is interesting. But then, like on a regular basis, that's all you. don't don't loop me into your cheese fantasies. You put a lot of things on vanilla ice cream. You make it sound like you did it specific for cheese. No, we only bought vanilla ice cream because Toby wanted to decorate every time. So the bowl would be like lined with peanut butter and chocolate syrup, and then the vanilla ice cream on
Oh,
top.
wait. You missed it.
What?
So lined with vanilla or chocolate, sorry, lined with peanut butter or chocolate syrup, and then there's either a hiding cookie,
Or yeah, or chocolate or flat top,
mm,
and then
and then ice cream,
whipped cream, and then you'd have cherries, but just for that purpose. It was very
and then
indulgent.
crumbled chocolate, and then yeah.
I'm sorry you don't get to do your ice cream decor
But it's
anymore.
okay. I'm okay with that.
I'm alive, and my cheeks have reemerged.
Mm.
So my cheekbone. So yeah. So good job. Non-excessive dairy consumption. Okay. I don't know. Any last notes on cheese?
Hmm.
I think for me, it's like I've just been fascinated how a lot of the most, I guess, the most common, interesting use of cheese that most people will probably get a chance to encounter is probably in pasta, in salads.
Hmm.
How a lot of salads make some very interesting choices in cheese,
Yeah.
especially when you start going to like Italian, Mediterranean places with like more, more I don't know, dignified ideas around cheese, and I love experiencing that.
And I think cheese is the chocolate for adults.
There is that. Okay,
No?
that
Parang
works with that.
as kids, you'd be like super everything with chocolate, anything with chocolate. Then as you get older, it's like anything with cheese, everything with cheese. And that now makes me wonder: is there a cheesy chocolate? Has there been a chocolate that tried to combine the sharp saltiness of cheese?
I am unaware.
Hmm.
I have one last thing before we go. Weird, weird the variations in fast food. So we had like I hate it when the cheese is on the outside
Mm-hmm.
of something that you're supposed to eat with your hands. I know that in that category, it sounds like I'm talking about nacho chips, which still does annoy me because I will tend to try to hold it from the non-cheesy part. But I talking about stupid things like um, cheese top burgers
Mm-hmm.
and like or the double down because it's on chicken and then the cheese sometimes is like I don't know everywhere. I don't like it when it gets too messy and then
Yeah.
like it just gets
And I
crazy.
think it's not just it's on the outside. I think it's on the outside in an unwieldy way. Because for
Mm.
example, pizza all has all the stuff on the outside, but it's fine because
You
it's
have a
still
crust to hold
yeah.
it with.
But then if pizza is too much, then it starts spilling over. It feels the same. Na parang ano ba to? Ang gulo-gulo. I feel that way over those melted cheese things that we had with some of the Korean food restaurants we went to, where they'll have you melt the cheese and then you're supposed to like dip it to get it. Because I hate how those small metal bowls are not locked in place. So
Mm.
when you try to get the cheese, the bowl is like moving
It's
around,
like shifting around.
and then it's hot, so you can't hold it down. But
Yeah, so more often than not in Korean places when we're dealing with the melted cheese, it's always like we stab it with one utensil, then the other person mixes it. And it's kind of
and then
stupid.
it always feels like sayang, kasi in the end, the container's left with all the cheese na hindi mo nakuha.
Okay, so Jay was asking if we already talked about how cheesy has been associated with kilig moments.
Mm-mm.
I have no idea, so I'm looking up online. Um,
Well, cheesy has gone through a multiple number of meanings. Um, there's cheesy meaning you did a cheap shot, you did a an unfair move. There's cheesy because it's cheap, it's inferior, it doesn't look sophisticated, it doesn't look expensive.
okay, so like this one mentions cheesy as an adjective, meaning cheap or
Yeah,
inferior,
there.
comes from 1896, perhaps originally U.S. student slang, along with cheese, which is an ignorant, stupid person. Yeah, you cheese, you cheesehead. Yeah.
Cheesehead.
And then in the late 19th century, British slang, cheesy was fine or showy. In
Mhm.
1858, probably from cheese, and some suggest the modern derogatory use is an ironic reversal of this.
Mhm.
The word was common use in medical writing in 19th century to describe morbid substances found in tubers, decaying flesh, and the like. Another one cites like yeah, cheap, inferior, 1896.
Mhm.
There's an Urdu term chiz for a thing, and Persian chiz Um, but then picked up by British in India by 1818 and used in the sense of a big thing. It's like the phrase "the real chiz." And then by 1858, cheesy had evolved to a slang meaning showy, which led to modern ironic sense. So it sounds like the use of cheesy is because it's showy,
Mm-mm.
because it's so out there in your face. And then
And keep in mind that's a cultural result in terms of its meaning because in the Philippines, a cheesy thing, when it's too showy, medyo may pagka-baduy na, medyo may pagka-ano na siya. So, overly showy, overly ano, so it's seen as negative.
mm, mm-mm. So yeah, I guess that's as close as we'll get to an explanation for that based on very very quick research. Um, it's anyone's guess because I don't necessarily think it means that we're talking about people who are smothered in cheese for real life. Although I'm sure some would like this. Sounds very messy.
All right, I guess that's it. That's all the cheese we can squeeze out of this milk.
Oh, that creates a very weird image.
But,
No.
but thank you so much for watching tonight's episode. We have a few more episodes laid out for this week. Thursday is all about. Oh, gosh, I forgot.
I was waiting for you to build up to. Oh, really? You remember what our episode's about? Um, is about the Marvel Cinematic
Yes,
Universe.
yes.
Phase
We're talking
4.
about Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe this Thursday. I know Andre was suggesting that he can guest. Actually, we don't even know if we'll have any guests about it because we don't really know how we'll talk about it yet.
Yeah.
But
Which is true, Baduy Pride fashion.
Friday is all about Friends, also known as the episode where we talk about how Toby felt like it was his life being shown in the show. And we're hoping to have Noel guest for that episode only because Noel is the one of the biggest Friends fans we know of.
Yep. So yeah, and we're going to focus on trying to figure out really who is Toby's friend character or why is it the whole cast. Because it really feels like there are many plot points and little gags thrown in that match a lot of Toby stuff.
From Afraid to Dogs to it's a long list. Let's just stop it at that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on Friday. All right. Yeah, so thanks again. Super fun. If you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, fill up the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. Thanks again to Mitch for today's topic suggestion. You can follow us on Twitter, all Toby No Shade, RG Sunico.
You can also check out our blog, baduypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know about your favorite cheeses or different cheese delivery systems in terms of like nachos or, I don't know, tacos. Where do you like your cheese? Let us know. And be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy Pride. Good night, everyone.